The Source of All Things is a story about me and my stepfather and a mistake that has taken 30 years, 2 babies, my own, 4 countries, and millions of acres of raw wilderness to reconcile. It was interesting because I had come to a place in my life around age 32 where I had this life that I had dreamed of, the perfect life. I had an amazing husband, 2 beautiful, incredible sons, a job that was the envy of at least all of my friends and probably a pretty large portion of anyone that I would talk to, skiing all over the world and writing about it. And yet I still had this hole in my heart. Like a lot of abuse survivors, I had gaps in my memory where I didn't know, I couldn't piece together how I had gotten from A to B or how my father had gotten from A to B with me. And so at the age of 36, in 2007, I hiked my stepfather back into the Sawtooth Mountains, which is a remote mountain range in southern Idaho, and also the place where the abuse first began, the source of everything in my life, and confronted him with 4 questions. When did it start? When did it end? How many times and why? My real father died on a backpacking trip when I was 7 months old, so I have a love of nature instilled in me from before I was born, probably. It's almost genetic. My mom remarried a man named Donnie, and he also was an avid hunter, but he was also a hiker and a skier and just a person who was very connected to the outdoor world. And so after all of this trauma in my life, because I had always been so connected to wilderness, it was a natural move for me to go back into wild places. I think what I was doing was pushing myself as far as I could physically to get to a place where I felt strong enough, both physically and emotionally, to confront my stepfather about the things that he had done to me as a child. When I was young and all of the abuse came to light because I ran away from home and went and told the mother of a friend who called the police and went through the court system and lived in a lot of different places. My mother, like a lot of women who are married to people who abuse children, to men who abuse children, decided that it would be better for her and better for our family for her not to leave him. And so as a result of that, I have had to continually face my father, my stepfather. And to his credit, he has always begged for my forgiveness and asked for it in varying degrees in different ways. But once we had this conversation and once I found out a little bit more about why things had happened and how they had happened, I decided as a mother that I needed to protect my kids. He no longer has unsupervised access to them, which I feel really good about. Abuse is so widespread. Sexual abuse is more widespread than anyone knows. 1 in 3 girls by the time they're 18 have reported being molested by usually a family member, and 1 in 6 boys. That is a staggering number of people. The first thing that I would like to say to especially young people who have been going through this or who currently are going through this is you are not the blame, you are not the reason this is happening, but you have to be the one that puts a stop to it. This is what I hope in my heart for The Source of All Things. I hope that people will read it because it is a beautiful story. I hope that people will read it because it's an incredible adventure. I want to help people understand what abuse victims go through, but I also want to give people a reading experience that might be difficult, but will also leave them with a feeling of empowerment and inspiration by following my story as it's taken me from, I would say, victim to survivor.